Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Roundtable Road to 2030, Citizen-Oriented Innovation. Let me introduce myself. My name is Riccardo Porro. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Cariplo Factory. I will be the moderator of this amazing conversation with industry leaders. This session brings together companies from the three Federated Innovation at Mine thematic areas: Agrifood, Tech and Wellbeing, Retail Tech, and Fintech. During the main session, we heard Tommaso Boralevi, the chairman of the Federated Innovation Network, illustrating the state of the art of the network, while the Innovation Alliance ambassadors, Paola Testori-Coggi and Federico Frattini, shed the light on the importance of the innovation agendas of each thematic area. In the following 90 minutes, we are going through deeper details on topics, goals, and upcoming innovation initiatives belonging to these three thematic areas. We will do starting from their innovation agenda, the backbone of their strategy, representing the result of the joint effort between member companies, ambassadors, and with the support of Cariplo Factory, the ecosystem catalyst. Thematic areas play an important role for the entire ecosystem, as well as the cross-pollination is one of the main features of the Federated Innovation at Mine model. For this reason, one of the priorities of the 11th thematic area is to identify synergies, an area of collaboration between each other. This is another item that we are going to discover during this roundtable. The top-down model is the only first way to accelerate innovation within the Federated Innovation. The other involves a bottom-up approach. Talents, startups, innovative SMEs, and the broader innovation ecosystem can propose through the Digital Square project and initiative to the Federated Innovation at Mine members. For this reason, a Q&A session will follow, and we are eager to receive inputs, comments, and questions by the entire Italian and international innovation ecosystem. But before starting, let me introduce the speakers of this roundtable. So please welcome to the stage Enrico Costanzo, Group Innovation Manager of Cereal Doc Group, Davide Sanzi, Innovation Manager of Esselunga, Enrico De Corso, Managing Director of Promocoop Lombardia, Jay Hutton, Co-founder and CEO of VSBLTY, Daniel Tatini, CEO Italy, Israel, Greece of Signify, and Margherita Carusi, Business Development and Innovation Specialist of Fabrick. Thank you all for joining us today. Well, before entering the core of this afternoon discussion, I would like to start with a short warming up with all my guests. Enrico Costanzo, let's break the ice with you. Could you share with us Cereal Doc's reason to join the Federated Innovation at Mine? Which elements of the Mine ecosystem represent an added value for your company?
Hi, Riccardo. Yeah, I suppose you can hear me.
Yeah.
So, hi, Riccardo. Really, thank you for your question. So first, let me tell you that Cereal Docs is an Italian family business. And what we do, we are in this so-called primary transformation, that basically means linking the farm and the fields with food companies. This means that we really are a B2B company. And as a family business, Cereal Docs is looking, as you can imagine, for long-term sustainability. And if you want to achieve long-term sustainability, The only way to do this on the long term is to do it through innovation. And this is the reason why Serial Docs is expanding its innovation capabilities, and Mind for sure is a great opportunity to do that. So we think that Mind could be the very first physical innovation ecosystem in Italy. So if you like, a place like the ones in the US campuses or the ones in Northern Europe, where you can find the most innovative companies or the best laboratories and the top minds all in the same place. So you can find them just a few hundred meters out from each other. And for sure, we think that if there is a place in Italy where this dream can happen, it is likely to be Mind in Milan for sure. So this is the reason why we were really interested in Mind.
Thank you, Enrico. Davide, I want to call you on the stage. Davide from Esselunga. Davide, the innovation agenda is the outcome of a co-design process. And as we have heard in the earlier speeches of Tommaso Borralevi and also Edoardo Monopoli, Davide, how did you work to connect Esselunga innovation needs to other companies' R&D strategies?
Hi, Riccardo. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your questions. Indeed, Riccardo, it's not easy to align the agendas, but we can see that we are not addressing specific strategic problems here, but global strategic problems. The system that we live and work is reached such a level of complexity that following an open innovation approach, even cross-industry, becomes a mandatory path. You know the expression, connect the dots, right? Well, the word is multiplying the dots, and the space in which they move is expanding more and more. How can we see and reach these dots with only one point of view? I don't know. But we know that if we combine forces, we can reach that level of reading of the reality and of design of a new world. As you know, we are a customer-obsessed company, and if the customer jobs become systemic, the answer cannot be sectorial, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you, David. I completely agree with you. It's time to break down the silos, and Mind and the Federated Innovation is for sure the place to be. Enrico De Corso from Promocoop Lombardia. Enrico, Promocoop is a different organization to compare to the corporates that join Federated Innovation at Mind, because if I understood correctly, you act as an innovation broker for your associates. So the Federated Innovation model goes in the direction of a systemic approach, beyond open innovation, with a broader participation also from the stakeholders to pursue a common good. Which is the value for Promocoop Lombardia coming from the participation of different actors in the innovation initiatives?
Thank you, Riccardo. Good afternoon, everyone. I suppose you hear me. I hope quite well. Yeah, you're right. Promocoop Lombardia is a pretty different organization, but the job till now has been very, very interesting. We are the service company of Confcooperative Lombardia, that is the most important association of cooperative enterprises in Lombardy. Agri-cooperatives are one of our core business, and the assistance of agri-cooperatives is for us one of the most important point of our activities, of our goal. Actually, agri-cooperatives are a very important player in agri-food supply chain. Their weight in terms of value is around 30% of the overall agri-food supply chain. So we decided to join Federated Innovation at Mind to evolve our business model, because we want to focus our activities on offering innovation brokering services and support at a supply chain level, especially on digital innovation and sustainability challenges towards new markets and new meanings. We'd like to transfer that are already emerging to the agri-cooperatives that could boost their business development, but also join Federated Innovation and mind the business community. We are sure, and we already know that it could be possible, it will be possible, because the challenges of the innovation agenda are our challenges, and all the things that we tackled with the other colleagues, with Esselunga and Serial Docs, told us that it's possible. So thank you, and good work, good job, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Enrico. And now it's the turn of Jay. Jay, I want to call you on the stage. Jay, nice to meet you. You are the visionary leader of VSBLTY, and you have 20 years of experience as a software executive. In your job, you always keep an eye on emerging technologies. What makes, in your opinion, Federated Innovation at Mind unique compared with other international practices?
Well, first of all, thank you, and good morning. I'm in the USA. Good morning, good afternoon to everybody. You know, when I saw the question, I was intrigued by this phrase that Mind is now using, collaborate to compete. And I think that's fantastic. I love the phrase. It's magic. What's really unique about the opportunity to participate in Federated Innovation at Mind is this idea that the best innovation comes from collaboration. And honestly, that's traditional strategic planning is insular. Traditional strategic planning does not involve the participation of other entities, particularly competitive entities. And what the magic of the Federated Innovation at Mind objective and mission is that it actually incorporates that notion directly in the means and direction and idea of the initiative. And we're really excited about that. In many cases, the idea of incorporating competitors in the innovation agenda is treasonous. It's just sort of never done. And the idea here is to do that as part of the fabric of the institution. And I believe that's going to lead to some breakthrough innovation. We're already seeing indications of that. So we're enormously excited about the opportunity.
Thank you, Jay. Connecting to your words, I want to have also Margherita thoughts on this. Margherita from Fabrick. Margherita, you are responsible for business development and innovation at the Fabrick. Developing innovation in a competitive environment is a challenge, as also Jay mentioned, but it's also an opportunity. What's your opinion on that? I can't hear you, Margherita. You're on mute. Okay. We are trying to fix it. In the meantime, I'll move on. We'll come back later to you, Margherita. Okay. So thank you guys for this ice breaking. I'm sure the public here has now a better understanding of what is Federated Innovation at Mind and its main peculiarities. Now we are ready to enter more in depth in the discussion. In the next hour, we are going to talk about 3 innovation agendas related to the following thematic area: Agrifood, tech and well-being, retail tech, and fintech. Let's start with the Agrifood leaders. So I call on the stage Enrico Costanzo, Davide Sanzi, and Enrico De Corso. Guys, we all know that exponential technologies such AI, big data, IoT are changing the agri-food industry, especially the farm-to-fork strategy. I will have all your brain on this. Starting with Enrico Costanzo. Enrico, will this be a threat or an opportunity for your thematic area?
Well, the answer is simple. For sure, all those new technologies are an incredible opportunity. And I like to tell you that as serial docs, we are already leveraging on some of them, in the sense that even through open innovation approaches, that means collaborating with startups, we are developing something like digital farm journals to our farmers. We are testing robots for precision weeding. So it's something we are already doing today. And I would like to say that this is part of our long-term approach, which is based upon sustainability. We started in the past with the sustainability of the supply chain, okay? But today we're extending it to a global spherical sustainability. And the point is, if you want to achieve sustainability, you need new technologies to get more with less, because this is the only way to lower our impact on the environment. And so new technologies are key, definitely.
Thank you, Enrico. I will have also your thought, Enrico De Corso, on this topic, and especially, can you tell us which innovation initiative do you want to focus on in the thematic area?
Thank you, Riccardo, for the question. I could say that we want to focus on three types of areas, or three types of focus, different focus. Agriculture 4.0 for us is a way to implement more sustainable farming systems. Also developing idle assets that can become value to enhance along the supply chain, starting from a new strategic approach on data. Supply chain sustainability, so Agriculture 4.0, supply chain sustainability, because the aim is to guarantee the final consumer of the sustainability of the entire supply chain, from farm to fork, from animal well-being to sustainable packages. And then, third point, enhance and innovate nutritional elements, especially from animal proteins and animal production in general. We think that the added value of agri-cooperatives is that we have a supply chain approach. Farmers are members and shareholders of agri-cooperatives. Agri-cooperatives collect agricultural raw materials and transform them into food and trade and distribute it. So we want to tackle the challenge of the innovation agenda through this supply chain approach and these three focus: Agriculture 4.0, supply chain sustainability, and enhancing and innovating nutritional elements, especially from animal productions.
Thank you, Enrico. So Agrifood 4.0, sustainability of the supply chain, and also personalized nutrition. These are for sure big challenges. Davide, do you think startups can contribute in this scenario and can allow you to tackle also the agri-food tech?
Of course they can. You know, the agricultural sector remains one of the sectors where technology can have a high impact. In the world of startup, there is a belief derived from concrete facts. if you want to be sure of success, take a business conducted in a classical way and redesign it using potential of current technologies. Unfortunately, nature is losing its systemic effectiveness. We need to help her to return being efficient and nutritionally effective. We can do it. We can do it with data, with automation, with precision technologies. Many problems, for example, are linked to waste of resources along the entire production chain. We need an out-of-the-box perspective, but one that can be adopted immediately. Time passes, and we have an ethical duty to reverse this unsustainable paradigm. Thank you.
Thank you, Davide. Time is money, and startups can really be an accelerator to change the environment, to change your business. Stay with me. I got another question for you. During the working session on the innovation agenda, it clearly emerged that customers are looking for healthy foods. And I'm quite sure that Esselunga has been working on this from quite some now. In which way superfoods, as well as new tech exploitation, such as urban farming, can enhance nutritional properties and food quality? Would you like to share with us the thematic area plan on this domain, please?
Yes, of course. Well, as mentioned before, nature is losing its power, and technologies that can help before and after its development and growth action. So technology can compensate and also give nature the ability to regenerate and return to a less intensive and more consistent production level. If we need a greater production capacity, a new level of nutrition properties, we can look for the answer in production technologies that, by imitating the nature, can reduce intensive exploitation and enhance food quality. Where can we actually start from, as you asked me before? For example, since the last week, you can find vertical farming salads on our shelves. It is a path we are learning, and this is the plan of the thematic areas. Experiment and learn. Again, for example, all the member thinks that building an integrated data platform which can incorporate data analytics coming from agriculture can transform the agricultural system in a data-driven supply chain. That's for example. And we can explore the use of also digital twins in agriculture, indoor farming, microgreens, and also production model of super functional ingredients, going from recipes to formulations, going from using ingredients to build something more than simple food. Thank you.
Thank you, Davide. Very, very inspiring. I will move to another issue that is interconnected with what you mentioned, Davide. I want to call Enrico Costanzo on the stage on that. Enrico, Italy is renowned for food excellence. Statistics show that Italy keeps on eating the European list of certified production. However, during our co-design workshops, clearly emerged that there is still a gap in terms of industrial food technologies and in terms of facilities to scale up innovative food processing. So could you share with us the idea that, in my opinion, is very, very inspiring to develop the first food tech lab at Mind?
Sure, and thank you really for touching this point, because we know Italy is well known for its food culture, the gastronomy, the creativity. All this is well known. But when it comes to food technology and processes, in fact, other countries are leaders in this field. And if you like, this is partly because, let's say, facility sharing, knowledge sharing, among universities and industry, or even between companies, is something which is not widespread in Italy. We need to recognize this. And so the Italian Food Tech Lab is our thematic area dream. We dream of a private public laboratory in food technology where we might gather together really the best minds in food tech with state-of-the-art facilities, leveraging on the mind ecosystem, on the member companies, and on the anchors. And really, this is a project which is perfectly fitting with the idea of the mind, the idea of a physical ecosystem of innovation, and we want to do this in food technology.
Thank you, Enrico. We talk about digitalization, healthy foods, personalized nutrition. Now we are moving to another hot topic that is at the top of the European agenda, and has been more and more associated to food and food production. I'm obviously speaking about sustainability and circular economy that represent big challenges for the agribusiness. Enrico de Corso, how innovation can contribute to make farming, food manufacturing, and distribution more efficient and resilient, and how this topic enters your innovation agenda.
Thank you, Riccardo. So, actually, we think that digital innovation is the strategic tool to reach more efficient and resilient supply chains. We are convinced that digital innovation allows the connection of the entire supply chain, enabling the supply chain approach that is the traditional approach of agricooperatives, as I said before. So this is a way, the connection from farm to fork actually is a way to recover value, because we can enhance efficiency, but we can also realize new business models, especially platform business model. Actually, the focus of this approach is on the value that each supply chain player can produce and exchange. From this perspective, sustainability becomes one of the most important opportunities we have, because thanks to digital innovation, we can share it in a very transparent way till the final consumer that asks for sustainability, asks for more and more sustainability, but it's available to share more value with the supply chain only when it's very sure about it, when it is guaranteed. So we think that in this way, in this perspective, digital innovation can be a real big opportunity to transfer us to a supply chain approach and towards sustainability.
Okay, thank you guys. This has been very inspiring, and I'm sure we in the next future will hear more about especially the food tech lab and the data sharing platform that you mentioned. This also allow me to remind that all the innovation initiative will be published on the Federated Innovation at My Digital Square that has been also presented in the plenary session. Before moving to the next innovation agenda, I would like to thank you, Enrico Costanzo and Enrico de Corso. Invite Davide to stay with me for the next session that will be joined by our new guest, Jay Hutton, CEO and co-founder of VSBLTY. Jay, now we are talking about retail tech. During the working session on the innovation agenda, you have highlighted new needs emerged from the population aging. How did you take these emerging trends in consideration in your innovation agenda? Jay, you're on mute.
My apologies.
Fine, thank you.
As my friend from Esselunga has pointed out before, retail is under enormous change at the moment. Partly because of internet-based fulfillment modalities, but often we find that the impact the internet has had on fulfillment modalities is exaggerated, is hyperbolic. It's more than, still 85 to 90% of retail commerce is done through bricks and mortar. But it requires us to change how we're addressing the consumer who comes to physical retail. It's more experiential. It's more engaging. It provides information. It allows for a different way of connecting to the population. And to address your question, older population engages with retail differently than younger populations. And part of our innovation agenda that we've been discussing with our retail thematic group and with Esselunga is, how do we deploy technology in retail that enhances the shopper engagement, gets involved in an emotional connection to the consumer, and at the end of the day provides more information for the retailer and, of course, a better experience for the consumer. And to us, that's a really critical part of innovation and of the innovation agenda, and will really lead the way into what retail is morphing into as we go on here.
Thank you, Jay. So I have to come back to Davide. Davide, digitalization is driving the shift from product to services, and digital technologies are also a big enabler to interconnect different sectors and design new services. Do you want to tackle this change in your thematic area? Can you tell us something about that?
Of course we do. Think of interconnection between food and health, between food and circular economy, and how much logistics, as said also Jay before, now represent the new shelf. Customers are really tired of doing our job. Think about the omni-channel strategy. People think to omni-channel as a border between physical and digital, but it is also a border between products and services. They are asking for more quality time for themselves, for the interest, for the people they love. We must do this work of interconnection between product and services. And again, here, a cross-industry approach is mandatory. Think also about for example, IoT tech. They exchange information, they can provide access to new services. And I think the best way to build is to build bridges and partnership and generate new business model using this connection between products and services. If you look at your credit card, you can see that you are spending a lot more money on services. And services are always connected to products. When you think about food, of course, you have to put a food in your stomach. But you go also to you also looking for a nutrition consultant because you want to eat in a better way, for example. So that's the way we can interconnect products and services, and that we want what we want to do here in Federated Innovation. Thank you, Riccardo.
Thank you, Davide. We are all on the same page. Internet of everything is changing the customer experience. It's very clear. Jay, I want to have your brain on one topic. We saw also in the plenary session that Mind it's a real big living lab where a solution can be tested. As far as Internet of Everything and retail tech technologies, how Mind can play a role as a living lab?
Well, Mind will play a pivotal role, as will our co-thematic lead. I always learn from Davide. every time I speak to him, I learn more from him. But we fully expect Mind can play a pivotal role in our ongoing development and validation. The store is becoming an incredibly valuable data repository. Not only the movement of persons, but the breakdown of persons, movement within a store. All of those data elements are relevant and usable with respect to optimizing retail. Computer vision and artificial intelligence play an important role, not only in identifying movement of persons within store, but their engagement with brand, which is crucial because that's how you monetize. And most importantly, and most excitingly, the idea of using historical data to provide predictive analytics. That's the holy grail, to identify and understand enough about person movement and point of sale velocity so that you can predict what's going to happen in retail next week, next year, next month. And all of that is used to optimize supply chain, increase the efficiency of retail.
Yeah, cool. Data, it's for sure a big transformative trends. And Davide, data, automation, and new technologies will also have a significant impact also on retail industry sustainability. Can you share with us the focus of the thematic area on this topic? Are we ever going to see a supply chain circular by design?
Yeah, we must design the future supply chain in that way. It is not an option. Waste must be considered as a design defect of the product, of the use, of the distribution and storage chain, and also of the regulation that applies. To do this, we need the contribution of everyone, institution, producer, distributions, and consumers, exploring automation tech, supply chain tech, monitoring and analytics tech, as said also Jay before. And all this data must include also disposal and reuse of the products. And this can become a competitive advantage for the future. So keep in mind that waste is our responsibility as a community, as a professional. And so we need to embed this design in the design of the product. So waste must be a crucial part of the design of the product. Thank you, Riccardo.
Thank you, Davide. Jay, you talked before about data and AI. Probably the last pieces of the puzzle is data security.
Yes.
So AI can really generate a real customer-centric retail service, but it can generate also issues probably about personal data security.
Yes.
How this topic enters in your innovation agenda?
It is part of our agenda every moment of every day. And I happen to have kind of a controversial a point of view on this. My opinion is that those that led us, the big players that led us into this industry, were strident and reckless with data. And because of that, regulators had to come in and create an environment where they governed corporations. And those of us that follow those leaders are cleaning up after them. Regulations like GDPR, the gold standard for global deployment, being copied in California, all over the States, and also in Asia as well. This is the gold standard. It is the right approach. And what's important for us as an industry, and certainly visibility as a company, is that we have to message that we're not interested in controlling individuals' data sovereignty or privacy. And brands don't care about people's identity. What brands care about, the biggest brands in the world with respect to deployment in retail, are the engagement of people emotionally, by gender, by age, with a specific brand. None of that is personally identifiable information. None of that, although there's a creepiness factor to it with some people, none of that is breaking the rules of privacy. So we have to make sure that we are well regarded, we're well disciplined, and we deliver the narrative that we are not a threat to data sovereignty. And it's a challenge for us.
Yeah, it's a great challenge for everybody in the industry space. Thank you, Jay. And thank you also, Davide, for being with us. Now that we have a better understanding of the retail tech strategic domains, I would like to invite Daniel Tatini to join our conversation. I see you, Daniel. Daniel, Signify has recently decided to join the thematic area. Signify is the world leader in connected lighting systems, software, and services. Could you tell us in a snapshot what motivates you to join Federated Innovation at Mine, how your company innovation strategy fits with the retail tech thematic area priorities, and finally, how would you contribute to the innovation initiatives? Daniel, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Riccardo. I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
Yeah.
Good afternoon to my fellow colleagues in the panel. Good morning to you, Jay. I think you are earlier on the clock than the rest of us. And thank you for the invitation. Signify is the former Philips lighting company that has been the world leader in lighting throughout the years, with the highest number of patents in the world, around 18,000 this time, and with 5% of investments year over year. And we're talking about more or less 350 million of investments each year. So when you ask me what are the motivations for joining Innovation Hub, innovation is almost everything we do. Everything we do in terms of our business and the way we do our business is around innovation. With that said, I think the first thing that comes to mind, and follows some of our colleagues' comments, it is about circular economy. So we have circular economy lighting. It is about sustainability, that we actually can deliver not only in terms of reducing the energy bill and reducing the installed power of a lighting installation, but now we can control it, so we can save even more. But we can also use 3D printed luminaires, and we can use recycled materials. So in everything that we try to do with our customers, but also that we do in our ecosystem, that we do with our suppliers, brings back to innovation. I think it's going to be a great experience. And I think a hub like this will most probably be a catalyst in the execution process. Innovation will happen anyway. The question is how much people like us and the rest of my fellow colleagues will be able to make it happen faster. So that's about our will to join. The reason why we are not founders is simply because maybe we're just a bit late in joining. We would have joined a little bit later. No, we managed to join as soon as we could, as soon as we learned and we were able. And okay, that's after closing the door of the founders. So here we are. And we are very happy to see the founders, but we are also very happy, very proud to be, the next possible ones. It doesn't make a difference in the willingness to collaborate, to cooperate, and how to bring it on. If I also go back to some of the comments, and I agree with Jay that every time I talk to Davide, I learned something. Davide just mentioned that last week they start to sell salads from vertical farming. That's somehow a lot of innovation. And I'm very proud to say that those salads are grown under our lighting. Unfortunately, another example, and this is unfortunate from a pandemic perspective, is we've been through in the last 18 months, maybe a little bit more already, a situation in terms of health that we never saw before. Let me share with you that for more than 35 years, we hold the UVC technology that now it's been used for disinfecting the air. In mobile units or in fixed units in the air conditioning systems, that technology is there for a long time. And now, in a very critical situation, we have managed to bring that technology. But let me give you a few contributions, much more focused on the retail world. Because having a beautiful store or a great buying experience has always been very critical. that we have done over the years. The quality of the light, the quality of the projects. Now we're bringing lighting controls. So more or less you can guide people with more or less lighting. But now on top of that, we are including indoor positioning. And then people will be able to navigate inside a supermarket or a large retail area and knowing exactly what they're looking for and where to find. And I'm talking about centimeters of the immediate position. And that's very good for the person who is actually there to buy. But look from the seller perspective. That means that every retailer will be able to know exactly for how long the person has been in the store, what areas of that store the person has been there. So if the people like one side of the store better than other ones, if I want them to buy a certain product, I can shift the consumer behavior. Now, theoretically, there are many ways to do this, and where it enters our major contribution. You can use the lighting installation, the lighting infrastructure that you have to do so. So you're probably going to save a lot of money of not having parallel installations. My last comment on this one, on how to contribute, I think the willingness to share and the willingness to try on the pilots are going to be decisive in the way this team and everybody collaborating with the ecosystems in putting things in place. It's about, for me, the speed of innovation. I think it's the most critical thing, and we are much more than happy to join. We're very excited. So thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm quite curious to test your salad. So if you can send a sample here in Cariplo factory, I will send you my feedback as a customer tester. I'm joking, obviously. I completely agree with you on one issue that you raised, that is innovation execution. As Cariplo factory, we work day by day with corporates, and every day we discover that corporates are full of bright ideas. What is missing is the ability to transform these ideas into execution, into really innovation initiatives and projects. So also at Federated Innovation at mine, you can use all the pieces of the innovation recipe, included the catalyst to make innovation happen. Thank you, Daniel. I wish you the best for this journey, this collective journey that is called Federated Innovation at mine. Now we are ready to leave the stage to our friends from Fabrick, Margherita and Fabio. I hope Margherita it's fine now and fix this problem, audio problem. And we are ready to discuss our last innovation agenda, that is Fintech. Also, before we talk about AI and data, AI and data services in financial application are still at early stage, with significant value still to be unlocked to serve both B2C and B2B. Margherita, could you help us understanding what kind of new business cases are you looking to develop in mind? And also, could you please give us whether you are going to develop any POC, for example, at mine?
Hello, everybody. Hope that now you can hear me well.
Yeah,
I think so. Okay, perfect. So good afternoon, and thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Let's start from a premise. Information empowers a new digital experience in connected cities, and Fintech plays a fundamental role, allowing for secure and seamless user-centric transactions. Digital finance is the key to enable businesses, citizens, and service providers to interact in a synergic way. Thus, dozens of new business cases are allowed, and we're looking at them and, of course, at partners around us, such as, of course, Mind, to develop these new business cases. I think that the relevant point is why we can actually enable new business cases. There are some points that I think that are quite relevant. The first one is that we are going from fixed costs to modular and always more on-demand and transparent pricing. This is actually very important because customers have more and more complex financial needs, thus requiring customized solutions that our technology can actually enable. As you were saying, Riccardo, AI, data science services, but let's say technology in general, in financial application are still at early stage, but there have been significant improvement, which are allowing for, of course, new business cases. But let's move to some data, which I think are quite relevant as well. 8 in 10 Italians has purchased on an e-commerce in the first 6 months of 2020, growing of more than 80% compared to 2019. So this is, of course, these are huge numbers that stimulate the industry and the ecosystem at all to move towards new business cases, which are actually needed. Another significant number is the fact that the number of payments different from cash has grown from more than 7%. So this is just to give a bit of a context. But what about Fabrick? Fabrick at the moment is the only thematic leader to the area dedicated to fintech. And what we would like to do, empowering the fact that we create synergies with other industries in our DNA, let's say, is because Fabrick is a platform that actually connects producers and consumers, providing many different products. What we'd like to do is to develop business cases on, let's say, 2 main areas. So the first one is digital payments and digital transformation, collaborating, for example, with the retail, the Agrifood, or the telcos. The second one could be the API platform economy, collaborating in this case with energy and logistics companies. What about a POC made by Fabrick in mind? We are currently working on something. The focus probably would be either on supply chain and dashboards. So the idea would be that of sharing and aggregating data regarding the city and creating dashboards with this data. The second one could be about account aggregation. So we believe that citizens more and more are using digital services. So of course they will be in need of data aggregation more and more as well.
Thank you, Margherita. Now, Fabio, it's your turn, finally. With you, I would like you to talk about building user awareness. I think we can all agree that user awareness is necessary to develop new digital fintech services. How do you plan to tackle this issue in the thematic area?
Yeah, thank you, Riccardo. It's really a pleasure to be here with you, with all the colleagues. About that, let me say that there are many different kinds of users in the fintech market, operating in a wide range of sectors. So digitalizing financial services like payments, banking services, lending, and in general, optimizing the financial supply chain in the overall processes. So what Fabrick is doing, in fact, is working with the fintech field. In the fintech field, with the most popular fintech companies for 4 years, last 4 years. So we are working with startups, with banks, with insurance companies, investment companies, and lending as such as retailers and manufacturers to build a widest possible heterogeneous ecosystems where producers and consumers of financial services can be enabled by the technology, so can be enabled by the API infrastructure that becomes commonly widely used and built in this way an heterogeneous and new brand of services that can leverage the unicity of the services that are coming for each single producer, and enable the design implementation of brand new services for that. In the community, we right now we have on board more than 200 fintechs, and we have an ecosystem of company that creates solutions day by day using those new models and automatizing and integrating through the APIs their core business for their customers.
Thank you, Fabio. Margherita, Fabio already mentioned about this huge community that you build over the time. In fact, if I think to traditional financial institution, I think that they are typically equipped with outdated legacy systems that typically block innovation. On the contrary, innovation typically, especially in finance, happen often in startups. So how are you planning to use Federated Innovation at Mind to become a catalyst able to attract startups, valuable ventures, and talents?
Okay, let's start from the fact that as Fabrick, of course, what we would like to do is to overcome the limits imposed by traditional financial institutions, of course. Even if, as we were saying before, we are acting in an ecosystem. So, of course, to foster financial innovation, also traditional financial institutions are necessary, but also, of course, startups, tech enablers, and venture capital, and whatever. So, what is fundamental is to be able to collaborate all together in an ecosystem, which, as I was saying, is in the DNA of Fabrick. What about how we are planning to become, let's say, as you said, a catalyst able to attract all of this? In general, let's say that an increasing number of universities, companies, and institutions have created masters and executive educational programs actually focused on financial technology and innovation. And just this, of course, helps to attract new talents, of course. And as I was saying, the market and the industry and the interest towards these topics is increasing day by day. So talents, young talents, but not only, are more and more interested in these topics. Fabrick is, let's say, part and owner of another ecosystem itself, which is the Fintech district. Through this business unit of Fabrick, we are developing a master in Fintech, collaborating with the Lewis. Furthermore, the Fintech district has an academy which not only promotes, let's say, activities with companies, part of the ecosystem, promotes also educational paths. Furthermore, at the moment, we are collaborating with CDP, so Cassa Depositi Prestiti, Startup Bootcamp, and Digital Magics and SIA at the Fintech, FinPlus Tech, a project which aims at, let's say, attract and accelerate startups. So as you can see, we have many projects ongoing with the objective, of course, of let's make this ecosystem grow more and more.
Margherita, I think that many of us are trying to work with the CDP at the moment. No, I'm joking. However, Fabio, last question is for you. And with you, I want to talk about sustainable and responsible finance. Young generation, millennials, and the Gen Z are showing to look at ethics and sustainability as key drivers in their decision-making process. Could you share with us your vision on impact assessments of projects to be developed in the city of the future?
Well, innovation in the digital services in the fintech area have quickly grown after the first year of COVID. So companies like Fabrick can be really an activator of solutions for financial institutions and corporations that give a response to the growing attention to much sustainable financial services, like, for example, credit and investment services, bringing through our service model, our ecosystem, the required and even important transparency on a selling, proposing, selling, activating, and using fintech enabled financial services, guaranteeing and empowering equity and traceability about the service providing, the service consuming from the customer perspective. In general, us as Fabrick, together with the Sera Group, are implementing a plan to be compliant with the ESG that lead us to be fully sustainable by the 2023. So all the initiatives, mainly the initiative, I see either the initiatives related to the retail and users, but also to the small and medium enterprises are really focused on the design and develop sustainable services in the financial market.
Thank you, Fabio. And thank you very much to our all guests that intervened, and also to our dear public that have been with us till now. Before leaving the stage, the questions coming from the audience, I would like to take a moment with all our guests to reflect on our very next future at mind. One point that captured my attention as you were talking before is related to corporate and startups collaboration. Enrico Costanzo from Serial Dogs, I would like to ask you, according to your experience, how can startups support the realization of the initiative of the Federated Innovation? And how can we attract at mind future unicorn startups?
Sure. So, as it is very well known, startup corporate collaboration is basically a way for corporates to speed up innovation, because in this way you are leveraging on external knowledge, external IP, external human resources. So we know this is the reason why corporates are collaborating with startups. Now, if we look at the agri-food sector, the agri-food sector was somehow lagging behind other sectors in terms of innovation in the past. But since a few years, agri-food really has been catching up in terms of innovation. We've been talking before about vertical farms, robots in agriculture. All those things are not in the future anymore. They're really part of what corporates and startups are doing today. Now, what is the point, the interesting point of Mind? Mind offers exactly what startups are looking for, because startups are looking for what? We're looking for connections with corporates, which most of the time are not only the supporter of the startup, but even the very first customers. So it's a way to also have a market. You can find in mind the state-of-the-art facilities, I mean technical facilities, and you have human resources. You will have, of course, other corporates, so we have the labs of universities, the university themselves, okay? So startups are looking for this kind of ecosystem. And if you can find this in a physical place where everything is really close by, it is excellent for a startup. A point to be implemented, which is also important for a startup, is venture capital. So we know that access to venture capital is key. Italy is a bit lagging behind other countries in terms of venture capital. And so this should be a point to be assessed. But overall, mind can be an incredible attractive area for startups from all over the world. Really, if there is a place in Italy where this can happen, it could be there.
Thank you, Enrico. I completely agree with you, and I hope this vision will become a true reality in the very next future. Davide, are you still here with us? I will have another question for you.
Here I am.
Okay, Davide. Davide, the COVID-19 pandemic accelerated the need for new business models. Very often, these business models are based on collaboration between different stakeholders. What are the main lessons that you learned during the pandemic, and how do you plan to develop systemic initiative within the Federated Innovation at Mind?
Oh, thank you for your question. Let me say, first of all, that if in 2020 the most pronounced phrase was "you are on mute," in 2021, the most frequent question we ask ourselves is, what have we learned? And I think many of us have thought about this for a long time. And I think we learned that we are fragile, that resilience is a tactic, but is not enough as a strategy. And finally, that systems do not build themselves from nothing, but must be designed, nurtured, and guided. We have often heard the word system as a sort of value proposition, but then nothing happens. Here, I think Federated Innovation has the possibility to make difference, and I'll explain why. First, as stated also, as mentioned also by Enrico before, it is a physical system, not a team of persons who comes to discuss from time to time. It is a complex laboratory, a full-fledged cities with residences, transports, universities, research centers, offices, and even a hospital. It is open and in the making. So we can use this development process to adapt the city to the future. It is also animated by different competences, different skills that have shown that they have many points in common in the agenda. And this is the opportunity that we see. Drawing interconnection is the way we can work to avoid wasting this opportunity. Put ourselves in the lead and stop relying only on resilience. I think this can be the opportunity, and this can be the way that we can use Federated Innovation to build the city of the future, but also the world of the future, and also the Italy of the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Davide. And I will come back to Margherita and Fabio. You said before that one of the goals of Fabrick is to catalyze and attract skills. And Mind had a huge opportunity to attract talents, also because there is the University of Milano that is one of the anchor institutions. So which role, in your view, can the anchor institution play in terms of capacity building?
So, well, Fabrick has grown a lot in the last 2 years in terms of resources, and the increase is due mainly on the development of Fabrick itself. To bring to construct and bring to the market solution and project in this emerging open banking and open finance area. In this scenario, I think that Mind and your relation with the institutions can be a real interesting channel for us to bring, to attract, and bring skills and talents that want to challenge this new financial market that is really changing day by day, and it's really promising on the future of our young guys, talent guys.
Thank you, Fabio. Another important issue is that mine as a district occupies a special position, and it's close connected with the local ecosystem. Enrico De Corso, in your opinion, how innovation initiatives can generate value for the community and the territory?
Well, thank you, Riccardo, for the question. This is an important one. We think that mine is located in the most important food valley in Europe, probably in the world, if we would say this. Actually, for this reason, we are strongly convinced that Federated Innovation is have to be a big opportunity to link, to connect the innovation initiatives occurring in mind to the local ecosystem, because it's strategical for the supply chains that are in this local ecosystem. I want to bring one example. Grana Padano cheese. Grana Padano cheese is the most important PDO product in the world. Is the most consumed PDO cheese in the world, and it's mainly produced by dairy cooperatives. Actually, Grana Padano Consortium, that is the organism that work on the PDO's brand for guaranteeing the supply chains and stuff. Grana Padano Consortium is working hard on innovation and sustainability challenges, from dairy farmers to the final local and international consumer. Agriculture 4.0, animal well-being, agriculture and livestock environmental impact, nutritional properties, milk and cheese microcomponents, new and sustainable consumer nutritional styles, etc. So these are all items in which Grana Padano Consortium, in which the Grana Padano supply chain, in which an entire sector of our agri-food made in Italy agri-food sector is working on. So we are here participating at Federated Innovation because we want to build a strong connection between mind innovation initiatives and our most important agri-food supply chain players that are strongly from centuries that are strongly embedded in their communities and territories. We think this is a very important point, and a very important point also of competitive advantage also for mine district, I think.
Thank you, Enrico. Jay, the last question is for you. There are clear synergies between retail tech and other innovation agenda. For example, mobility and logistics or PropTech. The ultimate goal is to improve the quality of life of citizens and users. Can you explain us how would you like to work together with other companies and corporate within Federated Innovation at mine?
Sure. This actually addresses what I believe to be one of the critical value propositions of Federated Innovation at mine, which is the ability to cross-pollinate from one thematic group to the other. We are in our core a computer vision company that uses artificial intelligence to understand what's happening in real space. We apply that principally and mostly to retail, but we do have use cases and opportunities emerging in the smart cities category. And you could reasonably say, well, what can a camera pick up that can be then turned into large deposits of data that can be used for inference, traffic patterns, people patterns, events happening in the city that are dangerous, a fight, a crowd. These sorts of things are components of what algorithmic logic can do in the computer vision space that can be applied to prop tech, to smart cities, to various other locations. And the beauty of mind to visibility is that even though we are entering into the thematic area that is a retail thematic area, we get visibility to and access to thought leadership and opportunities to use the technology in other equally valuable and potentially more valuable categories and areas of innovation. So that's what's exciting for us.
Okay, thank you, Jay. Finally, let me say it's time to open the debate to the audience that has kindly following us till now. And I'm sure there are plenty of questions for our guests. So let's start with the first one. The first question is for Jay. Jay Someone is asking how, in your opinion, will bricks and mortars retailers respond to the growth of internet-based fulfillment, and how will they compete?
Interesting question. About a week and a half ago, I was at a conference in Chicago when I had an opportunity to meet with the chief digital officer of the largest shoe company in the world. and what he told me was fascinating to me. He said that when a consumer visits their web presence for some form of fulfillment, buying shoes, they pick up several hundred data points about that consumer's visit. When that same consumer visits the bricks and mortar, they pick up 5. So it seems to me that there's an opportunity here to collect similar components and levels of and collection of data in physical bricks and mortar. And when we do that, we take down the barriers between cyber fulfillment and in-store fulfillment. And a lot of it has to do with the data that we collect. We need to make, as I said in my earlier comments, we need to make retail more experienced. It hasn't really changed in 30 years. So an opportunity for us to respond to the demographic shift of the marketplace, the changing buying behavior of various demographic, the millennials versus Gen Z, et cetera, to make our store more experiential, to deliver valuable engagement in store. And that value, by the way, is an assessment not of the retailer, it's assessed by the consumer, which is a complete spin for us as an organization or as an industry, I suppose. So these are the opportunities. I think we're equal to the task, but that is how retail is going to address the threat of internet-based fulfillment.
Thank you, Jay. Moving to the next question, probably is for one of the players of the Agrifood thematic area. I don't know who wants to answer. Someone is asking if you are willing to explore the potential of data behind the microbiome of animals and insects. Who want to answer? Davide, Enrico? Maybe Davide, you want to go?
Well, here I am. I don't know. I'll try to answer this and ask also.
It's a difficult question, let me say.
Yeah. You know, we are on the distribution side, but we know that animals and they, this new trends of microbiome and new trends, and with new trends, I mean new stream of studies. It's quite important even in humans, and we know that also in animals, studying microbiome is something that can prevent disease, and we know that disease in animals is one of the threats that is at the base of a shortage of supply for a product coming from animals. And also now we know that starting from 2020 that also this spillover coming from animals can be a great trend for us. So animal wellness and studying microbiome in animals, it's connected also on this. It's really quite important for the humankind at all. So this is the way that we would like to explore all this kind of data. And as I mentioned before, having and possessing all this data and also computing all this data can bring us to another frontier of knowledge and trying to forecast what is going on in animals and how to put the animals together and animals in a certain climate, certain environments, a certain biosphere. So if we can control all these kind of things within farming activity, we can control also the quality of food and the quality and the wellness of the animals.
Thank you, Davide. Maybe Enrico, Costanzo, that you, as serial docs, you are on another pieces of the value chain. So, do you want to add something on that?
Yeah, I like to say that data today are part of biology. When you analyze a microbiome, you have an incredible amount of data. So if you want to be very practical, to develop a new kind of feed for animals, and you want to see how can improve the health of animals, and you want to look at the microbiome, you are required to look at data. So this part of what scientists are doing is also what we are going to do also in our labs in serial docs, by the way, is something that every biologist is doing. And so for sure there is a strong connection with the anchor and even I thinking about the human technology. Then there is another step. If the question was about how can you go behind this kind of data to develop something new, if this was the address of the question, then for sure, as Agrifood, we are connected to health, and in health and well-being. And of course, as also Davide was suggesting, the point is to collect different kind of data, biological data, behavioral data, in order to, let's say, track even through all the kind of apps we have today, the behavior of people and find way to improve the wellness in the end. So this is something which is, let's say, an open window in what we designed in our thematic area, is written down, and something that is there to be explored. It's not for today, not for tomorrow, but it's something that for sure it could be explored.
Thank you, Enrico. Let me check if there are any other questions from the public. Yes. However, I remember to all the audience that you can ask some question on the chat bot that you see on the home page. Next question is, okay, it's for Fabrick. Probably I will say, Fabio, it's for you. Someone is asking if your impact index that you want to develop could be tested for the evaluation of the recovery plan projects. Wow.
Okay. Actually, we are still working on that. So the objective is exactly that. So to be able to be evaluated on that initiative. But okay, we are still on the run. So this is the objective, is not currently already implemented.
Okay, Fabio, very clear. So we will see on the digital square for sure the evolution of these developments. And I know that probably there are a lot of startups and other players that are willing to contribute or to be tester of this framework. Okay, I see another question. Someone is asking if Federated Innovation will collaborate also with business angels and investors. I don't know, want to answer? Maybe someone of the Agri guys? I don't know. Enrico? Yeah. Enrico.
You can hear me. Yes, I can jump on this. So this part of what I was saying before, that one point to be explored is venture capital. To attract startup, we need to attract also venture, and the business angels are a small size, of course, small part of the pie, but very important because they are actual person. They bring the brand of a business angel is the person himself, and so for sure we need to attract them. We need to have them go be on the place, talk with the startup, be mentor of the startups, because this is extremely important. If we are able to do this, is a very first step to bring capital at the mine ecosystem.
Thank you, Enrico. Maybe the other Enrico want to add something, as I see on the chat. Enrico, please.
Yes, just one point. I completely agree with Enrico. I think that the point is that Federated Innovation is also a way through which make our sector more and more attractive in a general way, and this is true also for the financial side, but also for talents and also for the more dynamic firms and so on. So I think that the attraction in a broad way should be one of the assets in which you have to invest and invest. Thank you.
Thank you, Rico. Okay. I don't see any other question from the audience. So just let's check. No. I would like to thank you all for being here and for your participation to this great and inspiring session. Before leaving you, I just want to remind again that you can connect to the digital square in order to receive updates from the Federated Innovation. And also, you can leave your comments. We are very interested to learn and to hear your views and opinions, because now it's your turn to collaborate, to compete. It's been an honor for me to lead these debates today. I wish you good luck for your innovation journey, and goodbye.